South Africa seems to be gripped by one disaster after another, with the cholera outbreak being the most recent. Often, humanitarian organizations kick into gear to help as government can't manage alone. So this weekend, disaster risk workers are meeting to share tips on the trade. Gift of the Givers has partnered with Stellenbosch University for this two-day event. It's being held at the Cape Town International Convention Center with attendees from South Africa and further afield. Let's bring in now our reporter, Erin Bates. Erin, thanks for making time for us. So these disasters hit communities hard in many aspects of life. What is this program tackling?
So many things, Clement, and pleasure to be with you this afternoon. Everything from pediatrics to logistics, wound dressing, and the planning that goes into the work these disaster risk teams conduct, not only in South Africa, of course, but around the world. We've heard from a number of speakers, including Dr. Kasim Borat. He's been with Gift of the Givers since 2011, traveling to everywhere from Gaza to the Philippines, to Nepal, to Syria and Turkey. And Dr. Borat joins me now. Doctor, your address focused on the purpose behind disaster risk workers' activities. What drives you?
So I think, I'm guided by Imtiaz's principle of Gift of the Givers, which is the best amongst mankind and those that benefit mankind. And I think truly that's our purpose in life. And if we can benefit people, then I think we have value. So I think that's something that drives me personally.
And you've been involved with Gift of the Givers for several years now. It's really hard work, and there's that idiom, failing to plan is planning to fail. What are some of the tips that you've shared with colleagues around planning to go into disaster zones where chaos is the order of the day?
I think you're 100% right. You have to plan. But given the disasters and the natures of disasters that we attend, majority of the time those plans don't pan out how we wish. And as I was discussing in my speech today, I think we have to focus on two things: who and why. And who for me is the team of volunteers and the people that you trust your life with on missions, and that's the people that you would choose to be with you at any point in time. And the why are you doing this? And if you're doing this for something that you want to benefit other people, and you see the ability to help other people, and you see the reward of helping other people, that's addictive. And when you get that why, and if you combine the two, the who and the why, you'll always do this. I think everything else can fall into place. Flights change, flights get cancelled, you're able to do this, you're not able to do that. But if you focus on who you're with and why you're with them, I think you'll always be successful in your missions.
Now, in terms of the planning work that goes into these missions, whether it's locally or internationally, you're really dealing with a lot of different variables. What are some of the most important partnerships to have in place for this work?
So I think the first thing is the commitment from the team members. So once we've got the volunteer base, then the logistics will pan out. So we've got our own supplies, we've got our own equipment, we've got our warehouse, which is well stocked, we've got our primary healthcare list, we've got our critical care list in terms of anesthetics, wound care, etc., the different specialities as you spoke of. So we've got all of that in place. It's almost like the perfect storm that enables a mission to be successful, and it requires so many moving parts. And it's not that anyone can actually sit down and say, I planned this and I planned that and therefore it happened. There's definitely a bit of spiritual guidance in it, and everything falls into place when the time is right, provided your intentions are good.
And you're a medical doctor, you trained in South Africa, you work in private practice with your brother. What do you think are some of the skills that you've gained working in South Africa, which is in a kind of effective disaster often itself, that have carried you and your teams overseas?
I think definitely training in South Africa and the environment of our training at medical school, we're in a limited resource environment, and that's political, economic reasons, whatever you want to call it. So we have limited resources. So the decisions and the ability of our medical professionals to make decisions is done on a daily basis, and it's fine-tuned. So when we get into situations where these are amplified, so a disaster is when these limited resources are now amplified and you have to make tougher decisions, we've already been primed in a way to sort of make these decisions in a comfortable way.
And then just lastly, often your experiences in these crunch moments stick with you, and that can be quite taxing. How have you managed to deal with some of the grief and trauma that you witness in your work in disaster?
You're right there. I think you see the best in mankind when you travel, and you see sometimes the worst in people as well. And I think it's very important. I mean, I've got my brother who's been on missions with me, but Ahmed, the head of Search and Rescue, Imtiaz himself, we often use each other as sounding boards. We vent, we talk, daily on missions we have debriefing with the entire team. Everyone's allowed to speak. We need to get everything out in the open. But just by talking about your experiences, it's therapeutic. So I think there is psychological services available through Gift of the Givers, but I tend to use it more in a social setting.
Dr. Bharat, very much thank you for your time. Clement, I've got to tell you, the kind of human capital in the room here at the Cape Town International Convention Centre today, and indeed into tomorrow when this conference continues, is incredible. We're talking about people with first-hand experience in disaster situations, locally and internationally. South African workers, whether they're paramedics, logistics planners, medical doctors, as we hear, pediatric nurses, you name it, these people who have a bigger purpose are in the room sharing skills and tips on how to deal with and mitigate disasters day to day.
Erin Bates, live to us from Cape Town. Thank you.